It was the mid-1950s. The jet age was taking off. The interstate highway system was just emerging, and one vehicle promised to dominate the American road. The GM PD 4501, better known as the Greyhound Scenicruiser, rolled out as a futuristic, split-level palace on wheels. Sleek, towering, wrapped in stainless steel and glass, it looked like the future of long-distance travel. Passengers were promised a velvet ride, panoramic views, and a touch of luxury no bus had ever offered. It was designed by a world-famous industrial icon, ordered in huge numbers before it was even fully tested, and marketed as the crown jewel of American road travel. But behind the glamour, hidden beneath that polished aluminum skin, something was very wrong. A secret flaw, one that would haunt Greyhound for years, was waiting in the engine bay. Engineers made a radical decision to power this massive machine. Instead of using one engine, they installed two completely separate diesel engines tied together and forced to work as one. And almost immediately, that gamble started to unravel. To understand how this engineering marvel became a mechanical disaster, you have to go back to the dream that inspired it. Post-war America was booming. Cars were everywhere. Airlines were expanding, and Greyhound was terrified of becoming irrelevant. They needed something bold enough to grab the country's attention, something that made traveling by bus feel futuristic. They turned to Raymond Loewy, the designer behind the Coca-Cola bottle and Air Force One's livery. His vision for the Scenicruiser was breathtaking, a 40-foot split-level giant with huge windows, air suspension, onboard facilities, and a streamlined body unlike anything on the road. Greyhound loved it so much they ordered 1,000 units before engineers had even solved how to power the thing. And that was the problem. The bus was too heavy, too ambitious, too demanding. The engine technology of 1954 simply wasn't strong enough to push a fully loaded Scenicruiser across America at highway speeds. So instead of waiting for better technology, the engineers got creative. Too creative. They took two Detroit diesel 471 engines, reliable on their own, and bolted them side by side. Then they connected them through a fluid coupling into a single transmission. The idea looked perfect on paper, two smaller engines working in harmony to create one powerful unit. But real-world engineering isn't paper. The two engines rarely ran at exactly the same speed. If one engine worked harder than the other, and it often did, it didn't just struggle, it dragged the weaker engine with it like an anchor. That mismatch created enormous stress on the coupling, overheated components, and caused constant breakdowns. And when one engine failed completely, the other didn't save the day. It was forced to haul a dead engine along for the ride, making the bus slow, unstable, and dangerously underpowered. The transmission didn't help matters either. Controlled by delicate electric solenoids, it shifted unpredictably. Drivers reported sudden lurches so violent that passengers spilled drinks in every direction. Fuel consumption was atrocious, barely 3 or 4 miles per gallon. Dust and dirt constantly jammed the delicate throttle linkages, pulling the engines out of sync minutes after leaving the depot. Greyhound called it twin power. Mechanics had other names for it, none of them printable. By the late 1950s, the situation had spiraled. Scenicruisers were breaking down across the country. Passengers were being stranded on highways. Greyhound had to keep backup buses stationed along major routes just to rescue travelers when the Scenicruisers failed. Maintenance costs skyrocketed into the millions, and year by year the company's confidence in its flagship machine evaporated. Then the worst discovery arrived. The weight and vibration caused by the twin-engine design was cracking the very frame of the bus. Steel was literally splitting near the rear wheels. The Scenicruiser wasn't just unreliable, it was becoming unsafe. Public relations collapsed. Lawsuits flew. Greyhound and General Motors blamed each other. What was supposed to be a shining symbol of American progress had become a national embarrassment. But Greyhound had bought 1,000 of these things. Scrapping them wasn't an option. They needed a miracle, and they finally got one. In 1961, GM developed the engine the Scenicruiser should have had from the start, the Detroit Diesel 8V71.
a powerful V8 capable of doing the work of both earlier engines with room to spare. Greyhound sent the fleet in for a complete rebuild. The twin-engine system was ripped out. The frames were reinforced. A heavy-duty 4-speed manual transmission replaced the unreliable electric one. The rebuilt fleet, now powered by a single strong heart, finally performed the way the original engineers had dreamed. They called them the Super Scenicruisers. And for the first time since their debut, they actually worked. They were loud, oily, and unmistakably diesel, but they ran. They ran for hundreds of thousands of miles without falling apart. The engineering nightmare was finally over, but it had taken nearly 7 years and enormous financial loss to get there. Today, restored Scenicruisers appear at shows and museums as icons of mid-century design. People admire their beauty, their nostalgia, their presence. Few remember the chaos hidden under their decks. Few know that one of the most iconic buses in American history was once a mechanical ticking bomb. And that's the real legacy of the Scenicruiser, a stunning reminder that bold design can't outrun engineering reality. Greyhound dreamed of revolutionizing the road with 2 engines working as one. Instead, they learned a hard truth. Sometimes, one strong engine is all you ever needed. If you enjoyed this deep dive into transport history, feel free to subscribe and tell me, would you have ridden the Scenicruiser in 1955? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more.